Good evening and welcome to the Town of Douglas Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, October 2nd, 2023. Time is 7:01 PM. First item on the agenda, the 45 Martin Road RDA withdrawal. So in your packet, we have a request for withdrawal without prejudice. So I will need a motion from the board to accept the withdrawal without prejudice for this RDA, 45 Martin Road. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor? You can do it. We can.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
And we don't have Katie Grace on, right?
Yeah.
She's not here. Okay. All right, so we will accept that for the record. Interesting twist.
What? Who is this?
Nope. Okay, meeting minutes. Do we want to table those to the end? Yeah?
Make a motion to move them to the...
Okay. All right. Updates, CRG, we don't have any updates, correct? Just our
Correct.
recent reports. The Brian Keevan 41 Pine Street donation from 2014. Still trying to get those materials together and to get the sign up, and let's try to see if we can get an update from the people that are supposed to be making the sign.
Okay.
See if they need money, if we have to. I believe we've authorized some form of payment to them, some amount of payment. 115 Shore Road culvert replacement, letter from Jeffrey Walsh. Do you want to- Applicant's representative is here, I see. So we also have
Do one.
Try this out.
perfect.
Good evening,
Hello.
my colleagues with Alpha Omega Engineering.
Good evening.
My client did the pipe replacement, and Jeff Walsh was at the site during the whole process. We did the as-built survey, everything is per design, and it was submitted, and we also have the letter, and we expect to have a COC tonight.
Okay. It's not within our, oh, yes, it is. Okay. So let's deal with the culvert replacement. How did it go with the recent rains?
It's-
No
everything-
issues?
Everything is fine. And
Nothing's moving around?
Nothing is moving. We have
Okay.
the screen on the pipe,
Okay.
the bird cage on the pipe, so
Uh-huh.
everything's fine.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Benoit? Anything?
Thanks, Madam Chair. So as you pointed out, our town's engineer consultant, Jeff Walsh, did supervise the installation of the pipe. He did provide us with a as-built plan review, saying that everything is up to speed and built in accordance with the plan. He also made sure, and this was one of the requests of the building commissioner, that there was a video of the pipe to ensure there was no blockage further down the pipe. They did provide us with that video, showed the clear path, which is what we wanted to see. I also, because the town council was involved with this case going on some time over the summer, that I bounced this off of Brian Winter, just to ask them that we've received these letters. Is there anything outstanding on his end, to which he replied no, that he is also in support of issuing the certificate of compliance for the project.
Okay, thank you. So this was in relation to the enforcement order. So we'll take that up first. So we can consider the culvert replacement closed. And board, any other questions, comments regarding this portion?
Excuse me, a general question?
Yes?
What happened to the meeting minutes? He mumbled something, but I couldn't hear what he said.
Oh, we'll move them to the end.
Just table them. Yeah.
Speak up.
I could hear him.
Good.
But he's
Oh, you
looking
can
at
read
me.
lips good.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I do read lips. Okay, so I think that completes the culvert replacement saga portion. And now we're going to move on to 115, the certificate of compliance request. So, Commission, do we have any questions or comments regarding that request? So there is a letter of substantial completion. There's the minor deviations, which I believe this board actually voted on as the project was moving forward. We have that letter from their engineer, as well as the request and an as-built plan. So I will entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 115 Shore Road. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second that.
second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Russell, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
What do you need now, Mrs. Miller? What do you
When she get
need?
the certificate of compliance, so she can record.
Please call the office. Jen Kuchar.
I believe we have a draft here.
We
that
have a
should be
draft.
ready.
Okay, thank you.
Should be ready. Thank you. Okay. Next item, Lakeshore Drive enforcement order. So,
This is item number,
someone here on behalf of that? Okay.
Madam Chair, I'm not familiar with the procedures here. Do I set this up here? Do you want me
You
to do it on the
can,
screen, or?
I think that side would be best, because then
Okay.
the folks online can see it,
folks in the room can see it too.
and the room.
Yeah.
Can you guys see it?
I just can pull it up on the screen. I think he's ready.
I'm waiting.
I'm just reading your report submitted, yes.
Madam Chair, my name is Scott Rolfe. I'm the Engineering Operations Manager for OHI Engineering. Our offices are at 44 Wood Avenue in Mansfield. The last time I was here, you had given us a task to provide a restoration plan for Mr. Moran's lot on the waterfront. And we also told you that we would address the source of the water, why the water was causing such an erosive action to the property. So we submitted a 3 drawing set, this one being existing conditions. It shows, obviously, the green lot is Mr. Moran's. Has all your buffer zones on here. The pond is in the back. There are 2 dashed red lines coming down through here. The right side comes down, does this. Left side comes down, crosses over onto the Goodison property, and then comes down right in the area of the dock. That was the area on the property that saw the most of the erosion when the water was coming down Lake Shore and turning, both coming into Mr. Goodison's property and Mr. Moran's property. The squiggly lines here, those are straw wattles that Mr. Moran had put in to try to slow erosion down. That is the existing condition. The wetland flags here were taken off of the notice of intent plan that was prepared by Gurry and Howland. We did not flag the wetlands. And this topography was taken by us. They're 1-foot contours. The previous was 2 by Gurry and Howland when they did the notice of intent plan for Mr. Goodison. But we used a surveyor used a scanning device to do the topography, because that would give us a more accurate representation of the ground conditions, especially when you get into nitpicking on how water flows. So the first drawing is the EC plan. The second one is the site plan showing the proposed restoration. And what we're intending to do is to use a product on the slope here Turf stone, thank you very much. But I'm old, so I have an excuse. Turf stone, and turf stone is a block, it's 3 inches thick, they run about 16 and a half inches wide, 24 inches long, and they're like a waffle. They have voids in them. And these blocks, you can interlay them, with each other to make the roadway. They can either be filled with fresh stone, or you can fill them with loam and seed, and you can mow them like a lawn if you want to, but the point is they're permeable. They also sit on a bed of stone, and on a slope like this, there is a, whether you use angle iron or a little bit of a poured concrete stop here, they recommend a stop when you're on the downhill side of the ramp to keep the thing from moving. I can't see how it would, but, so this is starts right here at the edge of the road. This is 40 feet long. It sticks, just gets into the 100-foot buffer here by about 5 feet, 4 feet. And then the land flattens out. Now, Mr. Moran bought all these straw wattles, so what we wanted to do in the restoration was we wanted to, first of all, when we understand the lakes will be drawn down in a couple weeks, is that right? Mm-hmm. So and it goes down about, Brandon Phantom told me it goes down about 4 feet. Mm-hmm. That's the time to remove the material that's in the pond. And I have an outline of that right here, if you can see that on your plans.
Yes.
So what we proposed with that is, with the ponds down, remove that material, stockpile it somewhere on the site, and then surround it with some kind of a silt area so that nothing can get washed in a subsequent rain event. Unfortunately, this is the wrong time of year to try to stabilize a site. No one's going to get out there and get this work done in time to grow any kind of grass or anything, so I think it's going to have to wait till spring. I would suggest that. I told my client I didn't think anyone could do it any sooner. But I also have on here, starting at the 100-foot buffer, right here, we have a dash line coming down the property, running over to here, across the pond, this side of the, well, in and out of the wetland flags, and then back up here, outside of the 100-foot buffer again. We proposed mulch wattles. They work a lot better than straw. When they're wet, they settle right down on the ground, you stake them in. Not much gets by them. It would give offer a lot more protection to the pond than the straw wattles would, or even hay bales, I think. So I'm assuming in the spring, when we can work with the grass, the stockpiled material, we could reuse that material to restore. There's ruts in the driveway area coming down here, and there's just material missing, throughout here. That material could be spread, be loamed over and seeded, and could reestablish the lawn that was there. Unfortunately, none of this is going to work until we solve the problem with the water, because it's just going to continue to, no matter what we do, if the water keeps coming down, if the rate comes down, it's going to continue to wash away. There's one more sheet. I don't know if there's a need to talk about it. It's just standard.
Do you have a construction sequence somewhere on the site? A construction sequence?
There is a construction sequence on there. It's a general one that we use. Now, is this something, there's not a notice of intent or anything here. Is this something you can still condition as a commission? Okay,
Yes.
that's good.
Within that enforcement order.
Yes. All right, this plan. Top view is Lake Shore Road from, this is Mr. Moran's property. This one, I believe, is still owned by Mr. Cahill. This is Mr. Goodson's property, all the way up to here. This is the result of the survey that we had done. There's 1-foot contours that we generated, and we did it in an effort to show the actual path of the water flow within the roadway, and to define that's the blue line. The red line, you can call it a top of berm, you can call it a drainage divide if you like, but the water doesn't get past that red line, stays on this side of the berm. So Mr. Moran's property ends here. This lot, I believe, was cleared. I think there's a void of trees here. Anything from this red line going this way in the roadway appears to come down the road and go this way. Okay? Everything from this property here coming down, even above Mr. Moran's property and Mr. Moran's property, all contributes to the roadway, and they have these drainage flow arrows on here. There is a divide on Mr. Moran's property where the water goes elsewhere, but here it goes toward the road all along the property. There is a substantial amount of upland area that contributes to this. Beyond Mr. Moran's lot, it's probably, it's probably something like this. It's huge. Because of the berm, the water runs to the roadway, it's channelized, and the further it goes downhill, the more it picks up in speed, the more it picks up in volume and intensity. And in the lesser storms, it would come down this far, it would turn and go through Mr. Goodison's property where the hay bales are by his little fence where his parking area is. And something of a little more intensity, it would continue to do that and go a little further and come down Mr. Moran's access way to his lot. There's no other way I can explain it. The berm is what's channelizing the water, causing it to get to this point to create that erosive action. Now, none of this water comes from Mr. Goodison's property, not a drop of it. Everything from this road goes this way. This topo was done by Gurrier and Hallman, again, for the notice of intent plan. We traced the contours, the 2-foot contours, and before the berm was built, you can see where the roadway had graded off, the runoff had gone off the roadway. And this was originally a wood lot, I believe, before it was cleared. I think it was all wood, was it not? So there was no channelizing, there was no rerouting of the water, putting it to a single point of discharge. So there was no erosive action. When the berm was built, it stopped that flow. Now, that's not intentional, just it happens to be the product of putting the berm in. That was not, not meant to cause anyone any problems. Of course, the point is try to find a solution to stop the water from doing what it does. So we've had conversations with Mr. Goodison, and Mr. Goodison has already, even before I knew it, had cut 3 points through the berm. He has, if you remember from the as-built that Gurrier and Hallman did, he had put in culverts under this driveway with areas with stone that would collect water. The inlet of these pipes, I think 3 were proposed, but he built 4. And what he'd done, he cut the berm here, and out here. And in the last rain events, or the last couple rain events, the water coming down the road did go through those cuts. He wanted to see if that water, if these drains, which are all 12-inch drains, would take that flow. And apparently they did. I'm not saying it's a solution, it was an experiment. Mr. Goodison is more than willing to try to help fix this situation. So I'm going to suggest, I know we want to find a resolution to this. I'm going to suggest that between Mr. Moran's restoration and the attempts here, Mr. Goodison tried this. We know there has to be enhancements to the cuts, so they don't erode further and so forth. Maybe some piping, maybe some stone. But we would like to ask the commission if you would entertain the idea of letting us try to work on that, see if it continues to work, and then report back to the commission, in a certain amount of time, just to say whether it's working or not, or if we have to make other modifications to that, just to,
No areas of work are within the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission.
This one probably is.
That's the one.
This one right here, this is the
Southern.
buffer coming through. The 2 of these would not, this one is.
We don't have that plan, do we? Oh,
You should have it from Gurrier and Hallman that submitted it with the request for a certificate of compliance.
Yeah,
okay. Do we have it in our packet?
I just have it on the screen. I found it.
Could you zoom in for me?
Sure.
So this is number 56?
Yep. it's right on-
56,
right on the hard corner of the roadway.
56 Lake Shore. And then we did planting.
See, this B line is the buffer.
And from the as-built, when we issued the certificate of compliance, there's been modifications anyway to this area?
Only just recently, the 3 cuts that Mr. Goodison made to try to
Okay.
reroute the stormwater from going where it was going.
And could you point on your plan
Those
where
are.
the jurisdictional point?
The new,
That's within our, yeah,
no, we have not.
the area, no, could you point to the plan where you're planning that's
Jack,
jurisdictional?
if you tell me if I'm wrong, please, because you know this better than I do, because I haven't even seen it. I believe there's one right here,
Yes.
which goes down to this.
It was my understanding that they were all outside of the buffer.
On the berm, all the one you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you did this one. You may have done this one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep, just through the chair, if you could speak with me, and then, because I need to recognize the audience member. That's okay. That's all right, just to keep it's all right for the minute taker. So you're requesting the board to allow you to do work within between the 100 and the 80-foot buffer? I can't see from here, and I can't see from over here where your activity, jurisdictional activity
This
is.
is a 20 scale plan. This 100-foot buffer is 5 feet or so from the edge of the driveway, edge of the roadway.
So there's
You're probably 5 feet into the
That's the line.
100-foot buffer.
5 feet?
That cut, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
But the others are outside of the,
Okay,
but again, this was done, Mr. Goodison did it, trying to be the good guy, try to see if it would help. He wanted to make sure that his system within his parcel was capable of taking that water, and apparently it didn't work.
okay. Thank you.
It's not going to solve all of the water flow. Just one more point here. Mr. Moran has a pipe that contributes to the roadway that existed before he bought the house, where surface runoff from his driveway goes into it. This roof drains dump onto the ground, they drain across the driveway and go into it, and that does contribute to the road as well. Mr. Moran is willing to put in a recharge pit under his driveway, like a concrete beehive, surrounded by stone, kind of thing.
Try well.
If you put the driveway and the roof runoff into that, it would probably alleviate a lot of the flow to the roadway, at least to a point where maybe in the beginning of the storm, it'll take, a decent volume from his house, put it underground, and then by the time the storm's a little closer to being over, it wouldn't have such an impact on the flow to the roadway.
Okay, and could you point to the location of the dry well that you're proposing?
We haven't put it on paper, so I can show you where we want to.
You could hand sketch it. Because we've already given his certificate of compliance.
Probably about 10 feet away from the dogwood tree that you have there.
So it's on the bottom of your driveway,
The driveway is here.
No, it's
within grass area?
You want to come point to where the pipe is? Again, you know better than I.
And name and address, please.
Record Robert Moran, 56 Lake Shore Drive. So there is a pipe that is outside of it's like the driveway area, and the roof drain actually goes forward. It is sort of a catch for the sheet of the driveway, and it collects and distributes out here, close to the road, maybe 10 or 15 feet from the road.
Yep.
And I think on one of the plans it shows a tree, so it's probably 10 feet away from the tree on the existing conditions plan, maybe.
Will it be outside the drip edge of the tree?
Yeah, actually, it's close to where it says 50.5 with the arrow on that. I don't know if you have that same.
You wouldn't have this plan?
No.
It's just outside the driveway, right in this area right here. The driveway pitches toward it. The roof drains could be tied into it.
Is it jurisdictional?
It's outside of the jurisdiction.
It's outside?
It's definitely outside.
Okay. All right. So we can authorize
100%.
the install of the dry well for the roof and the driveway runoff. That's no problem. Can do that. Board, how are you feeling about the alteration of that berm within 5 feet of the 100-foot buffer? Is that agreeable?
I think it is.
Okay. I do too. That's reasonable. Just for the record, because we can't really, you didn't have a list of your proposed activities, right? So you're pretty much asking us on the fly. So we've got the one berm that's within the jurisdictional area. By consensus, we'll authorize that alteration within the 100-foot buffer. Also in accordance with the restoration plan required from the enforcement order. The dry wells, you're at your leisure to do. They're outside. And as far as the activity that's happened on the roadway, so today or yesterday, the last rain, how did it fare? Was it still flowing? Was there still movement of large rock riprap? Okay, all right, in a second. Okay, board, do we have any questions or comments? Miss-
How are they going to stabilize that area over the winter? Are you going to do anything to it, or?
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So you're proposing to hold and not to stabilize, so, I mean, fall time, we would think that grass can grow if you hydroseed it.
Well, I believe the deadline for grass growing is like October 12th or 14th or something like that. After that, you can plant by then, but you're not assured it's going to take after that date. So
Okay.
It's just too late in the year for the seed to germinate.
Okay,
That's the landscapers telling me that. It's not really-
okay. So we would have to postpone that issue of stabilization. So what are you're proposing, filter sock, compost, filled sock
Yep. That would afford protection through the winter.
in the meantime?
Yes. And if we could couple that with getting these cuts to take the flow off the roadway, it should make a big difference.
You're gonna do a 9-inch filter sock?
We have a detail for it. It's either 9 or 12.
8-inch.
Is it 8?
Yeah,
Very good.
must be a new brand.
So it's still stocks going 8 inch, but it's
8
mulch
inch.
fill.
Yeah, on site.
Madam Chair, we'd also welcome the commission and any members of the commission that will want to go and take a peek at what's happening with it. They're very welcome to do that.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that. So we're altering the berm that we previously talked about. You're going to stabilize the site with an 8-inch silt sock over the winter, and weather permitting, restore, reestablish.
Yes.
And-
The material will come out of the pond after the drawdown.
And stockpiled outside the 100?
No, there's no, outside the 100 is,
When you're doing the dry well, you said that was outside the
100 is
100.
way up here. The only way to stockpile it outside the 100 is put it in the middle of the driveway.
Okay,
So
so,
we'd stockpile it up here probably and put some area around it.
So your dry well is not outside the 100?
No, the dry well's across the street.
Oh,
The dry well's gonna be over here. I'm talking about the material coming out of the pond.
Okay,
We'd stockpile that up as far as we can, that's reasonable, put silt area around that, so that that can't further erode and head toward the, so we'll have a pile, silt area, and then we have silt sock going around the entire site on top of that.
could you point to the general area? It's going to be outside the 50.
The 50-foot buffers here, we could certainly be outside the 50.
Okay.
Between the 50 and the 100.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd be about 60 feet, 65 feet.
Okay.
We want to keep it on flat ground.
Anything else? Anything else? No.
I can't, there's nothing I can do for the other water that comes down from the roadway beyond us. There's other water that contributes, but I can't, there's nothing I can do to suggest, what comes across, all this land, including ours, to contribute to this. I can't create a solution for that.
Okay. Mr. Benoit?
Thanks, Madam Chair. I did get an opportunity to visit the site on Friday during a heavy rain event. And I did notice the cuts in the berm, and I drove to the bottom of the hill to see how that was functioning. And in the past storms that I went out there, the engineer is absolutely right. There's nowhere for the water to go. It horseshoes right around that corner and goes right down the lot in question. Due to the cuts, and I know that they're temporary, but that took a great deal of the flow away from the troubled area. I think that both parties working together is a really great asset to get this resolved. And I think that these cuts and whatever you learn in your work in the next couple of weeks might provide some resolution here. So I'm actually quite pleased to see the initiative that Mr. Goodison took, just even though experimental, but it did seem to prevent an erosion issue just in that rain event alone. I was happy to see that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so,
If I stay here, in case you don't have any questions.
I think the board's good, right? Yeah.
Are you going to write
Thank
that
you.
up as
Or anybody else?
Excuse me, name and address, please?
Henry Lane,
Yes?
100 Main Street, Waynesville? Are you going to write that up as a modification to the existing enforcement order, or are you just going to allow us to rely on our notes?
No?
You're going to write it up?
Yes,
Great.
with conditions. So I'm just fashioning it in my head right now to accept this proposed restoration plan along with the previously stated conditions, which are material removed and stockpiled outside the 50 with erosion control barrier once the drawdown occurs. The berm stopping the flow can be altered, the one that's within 10 feet of the buffer of our jurisdictional area. The roof runoff and driveway runoff is going to go into a dry well, which is outside our jurisdiction, and an 8-foot silt sock is going to stabilize the area and maintain it through the winter until the work can be done, reasonably completed to be successful. Is there anything else I missed?
Yep.
Anything?
Did you want to request them to update us at the next meeting?
No, I don't think the only jurisdictional activity is going to be the berm alteration.
Of the removal of the silt?
The drawdown's probably not going to happen before our next meeting, though. So I would request in 2 meetings that something should happen. Or if you end up, you can notify Mr. Benoit if you end up doing something different than what we're discussing tonight.
Sure.
Yeah, the next meeting's October 16th, so November 20th is a little bit far away. So I think an email correspondence, if you could let Mr. Benoit know when you're going to be removing the material, so that we can stay in the loop. And I would say still, if you wanted to send in an email for the November 20th, I think that's fine. I don't think that much is going to be happening. But if somebody sees, what's your method for removing the material?
Well, I assume we're going to get a machine down there and scoop it out.
Okay.
Up to the storage point.
Okay, so
So,
that's another thing. As far as our stipulations for the enforcement order, no machinery parked within the 100 overnight. And the only activity for that machinery is going to be the removal of the sediment that has been carried into the pond.
I'm going to assume the sediment that's there is going to be taken out as more like a sand, fine gravel. I don't think there's much fines in it anymore. I think that all should have washed out into the pond with the velocity of the water that carried it there in the first place. So it should be pretty clean stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you want to keep the sand if there's any in there.
I'm saying that it shouldn't cause much more problems for the future silt getting into the pond.
Right, right, okay. Okay, so that's another stipulation. As far as summarizing what activities we're going to allow within our jurisdictional area in connection with the enforcement order. Or anything else?
Madam Chair, when are the pavers going in? The spring?
The pavers?
That they're talking about here, these turf stone pavers?
Oh, when would those turf stones be installed?
That would all be done when probably the same outfit's going to do that. It's going to take care of the loam and seed as well. Probably all
Okay.
be done in the spring.
Spring. Mr. Cahill, did you want to say something? Name and address?
Yeah,
Yep. You can just, yeah. Name and address?
David Cahill's, Northwest Maine, Douglas. Am I going to be on the violation notice anymore?
Everybody's staying on it until it's remedied.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if it didn't come off of what?
I'm sorry, name and address? If he's finished.
If it didn't, if none of this was the cause from Lot E,
Name and address, please.
771 Northwest Main, Janice Cahill. If,
I'm sorry, but you just have to tell us for the record.
if there's nothing coming off Lot E, is he still in violation?
It doesn't matter. It's going to be that way, so. I don't know where the water came from, but I've been presented a plan. So everybody's staying on the enforcement order, and once it's remedied, it'll be released. There's no impact either way. So we don't know, you haven't provided me with a plan, you're on the enforcement order, and were required to have a restoration plan, but you've provided no engineered plan.
Provided letters from a wetland scientist, from 2 engineers that all looked at the property and said nothing came off that property.
Yeah, there's a ravine there, so it can't go like this and go like this.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, they said the lot's cleared.
but you own a portion of the roadway, was my understanding. You're,
But he owes till the middle of the road.
correct. That's why you're on it, not for parcel E.
The part where he is on it had no water come off of it.
You're talking about Lot E?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about Lot E, I'm talking about the roadway.
Okay, so
There's no consequences. I'm not sure what is your position? Where is the paperwork that says that nothing you
it's all
own?
been submitted. They've all.
The roadway, you own a portion of the roadway,
Right.
which I'm very familiar with the A&R that was approved earlier this year.
Yep.
And I had the same exact speech, suitable with grade and construction. Mr. Cahill, understands that 100%. So that's why the enforcement order encompasses everyone on that roadway.
No, I understand that. I just
Okay.
want- I want Lot E off the record, that's all, Lot E.
I'm not going to remove it. It's a moot point. I'm not going to remove it. So,
Okay, well, I
Okay.
understand about the roadway, yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to speak? No. Okay, so board, I'd like a formal motion to accept the restoration plan for the enforcement order and all the conditions that we had previously discussed.
Make a motion.
So moved. Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Make a motion.
Second, Mr. Ford? All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Attorney Lane?
Go ahead.
Tim Warren, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Benoit, do you have all that?
I will likely be going back to the video.
Okay, all right. So I just want to make sure any jurisdictional activity that we're aware of and that the person conducting the activity notifies the town before it commences.
Sounds great.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Next, new business. Public hearing, notice of intent, 11 and 17 Potter Road. Legal notice for public hearing pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on 2023 at 7 PM for a filed by Jessica Bengson located at 11 and 17 Potter Road, Douglas, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law 131, Section 40. The proposed work involves restoration of a riverfront area and new agriculture. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass, or pursuant to Governor's March 29, 2023 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18. The public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. Website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. 9/24. 24. Okay. Is anyone here presenting?
I'm here, but I don't know that I'm supposed to present anything. I can
Okay.
speak to Mitchell. I'm Jessica Bankston for 11 and 17 Potter Road, Douglas, Mass. So we submitted our information last meeting. My consultant is Glenn Krabowski. Unfortunately, he was not able to make the meeting tonight. He was in another meeting. He said that we have also submitted to the State Division of Endangered Species, and we're waiting to hear back from them. They have confirmed receipt of the notice of intent and restoration plan, and that's pretty much where we stand.
Okay, and you are applying for an agricultural use?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So initially, while we were doing this work with the removal of the trees, our plan was to plant in fruit trees for a fruit orchard and berry bushes for a berry patch. I have currently farm ID numbers through the USDA federally. We are recognized as a farm. I have chickens and goats, so we sell the eggs. We have goats that we plan to use the goat's milk for products. Before we received the cease and desist, we were going to start filing paperwork with the USDA to reach out for granting funding for greenhouse to put in, which would be all beneficial for the soil, planting in-ground directly to fortify the soils with nutrients.
Okay, and you're under the 5 acres.
We are.
I'm not 100% familiar with the qualifications for agriculture use. Are you going to zoning board?
We are not, because we will not be selling at our property. Our plans are to go to farmers markets, to sell privately through stores, small mom and pop kind of stores, and privately through friends and family.
Okay. And then as far as applying to the Conservation Commission for agricultural use, what does that entail?
So we were looking for the 100-foot buffer zone versus the 200-foot resource area versus the 200-foot resource area for the agriculture for the restoration plan. So we could utilize that extra 100-foot area for the planting of the fruit orchard and the berries, as long as it was approved. We were also going to plant an in-ground garden with that greenhouse that would be right outside of the 100-foot buffer zone as well.
Okay, and do we have an alternatives analysis submitted for riverfront area activity?
I'm not sure.
Do you know if your consultant submitted the alternatives analysis for riverfront 10.58?
I'm not totally sure.
Okay. So you would have to overcome the Wetlands Protection Act section for riverfront area disturbance and redevelopment. I would think that you're going to be considered redevelopment, but I'm not sure. So it's very touchy on that, so riverfront area. So we will be requiring that. I know that you don't have a DEP number either, so they are probably going to weigh in on this too. So before you come back, we have it the 16th. So you could, if you don't have the information yet from DEP, or you haven't hashed it out with them, then I would suggest you just continue for the next meeting. That would be my suggestion, because I'm going to wait for them, because they were very involved with this enforcement order. So, and the riverfront area is taken very, very seriously. So if they're not satisfied with your alternatives analysis, then you'd have to just hash it out with them so that nobody's wasting any time before you come back. I'd have to take a look at what we can do with that. I'm just not sure. It's so close. It's a lot of disturbance. Haven't seen it before, so. And I'm not seeing an alternatives analysis that has been submitted.
I'm not sure.
Let me just see if there's a submittal.
Checking.
There's a general project description, the deed, that's it. Okay. Commission, comments, questions? For the start, anything? No?
Say wait for the DEP.
Okay, fine. Jim, all set?
Yeah, wait.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm not seeing. And as far as natural heritage as well. So if they haven't responded yet, which they may take a little bit longer, we'll want to have that information before we make a decision.
Natural heritage?
Yeah, of endangered species protection. The one that you just received, I think, right?
We submitted the paperwork to them.
Yep. Yeah, you mentioned which one was the one that you said that they've received the packet.
The endangered species division.
Yep, that's what it is. Anything? No? That's okay.
Confirmation of delivery of the NOI to the MISA and NHESP. we do have that.
Okay,
I just don't see the alternative analysis.
okay.
But
All right. Anyone else in the audience have any comments or questions regarding this hearing? Seeing none. Did you have anything else, Jessica? No? Okay, all right.
want to engage Brandon?
Is he there?
No, I'm just curious if we wanted to engage.
Oh, okay. So for this review, we'd like to send it for a peer review so that your consultant can work with our consultant. So we can get an estimate from the peer review to see what it'll be, and we can, behind the scenes, coordinate, as long as you agree, move forward, and then there'll be a review before the next meeting, not the next time you're here. So I will entertain a motion to request a proposal to review this project from Brandon Fanoff.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco,
Second.
second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 11 and 17 Potter Road to October 16th at 7 PM. Motion made by Mr. Foran,
Second.
second by Mr. Fitzpatrick. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farn, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck. Next item on the agenda, 7:52 PM. Request for determination of applicability, 443 Shore Road, culvert and drain maintenance. Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting for Chris and Amy Nato on October 2nd, 2023 at 7 PM in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed request for determination of applicability work location is at 143 Shore Road, Douglas, and the applicant is requesting permission to maintain existing culvert and drains along the south side of Shore Road only at their property. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Or pursuant to Governor's March 29th, 2023 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18. The public may participate in the meeting via remote participation. A website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Okay, welcome. Name and address.
Amy Nato, 143 Shore Road.
Okay. Do you want to present your project, your activity?
So, sure. We just scooped out the gravel from the trench. This was back in the spring. And it's something we typically do every year. And apparently weren't aware that we were supposed to come for permission for that, so we do apologize. So it's something we just do so we don't flood out the road. I don't know if there's any further information that you need. It's not anything new that we put in.
So,
No new pipes.
walk us through the activity that you're proposing to do to maintain this portion.
I would say every year, just scooping out now by hand, and just, we had put that material back into the road, so it was just gravel, and if you can see the potholes, just put the gravel back into the road.
So the gravel was washing into the culvert?
Yeah.
So we use straw bales now because of the invasives in the hay bales, so as far as your, from 2008, so we would be requesting straw bales or straw wattles. So you have hay on here.
Okay.
And what are the wildflowers that you planted?
It was
So-
just a general pack of wildflowers. Some packs that we had.
Okay. Did they
And we
live?
seeded, some came up, it was mostly the grass. I should have taken a recent picture, it's like all grass now. We did plant some grass.
Took a-
So, is that the new one?
What?
And if you'd like,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I actually conducted a site visit on the property last week.
Okay.
And these are the photos that I've taken that are more recent. The photos that Ms. Nato took, that you saw in one of the previous slides, were in June.
Yes.
So you can tell just the difference in growth over time. And how much-
Is that entire thing filled?
Yes, for the most part. It's still slightly below grade, so water does make it into it, but you can see the silt build up, and there's the trench, you can tell. The water still kind of runs along the side, but it is pulling silt with it.
And where do you place the material? Just in the potholes?
Pretty much.
Is that, do you have any excess material?
No, not usually.
So the other side, what's happening over there?
We have a berm there.
And where does the water end up?
It just seeps into the ground.
Oh, okay.
The pipes were clear. No screens over them or anything.
No screens? Would you be willing to put a screen on the pipe?
So this is in about 3 months' time.
So if that fills up, is the water coming across the street now? Is that why there's puddles on the other side?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So, Madam Chair, these pipes actually function quite well. A lot of the flow is coming off the hill to the right of this photograph. And
Okay.
pipes keep it from getting to the road and washing it out.
Okay.
You and I discussed, but for the record, there was an order of conditions filed for this pipe replacement, maybe 15, almost 20 years ago, it was your father,
Yes.
who had applied in anticipation of a subdivision that was getting installed. Both never happened, the subdivision nor the pipe project. Unfortunately, my father had passed and they didn't go through with this, but the continued maintenance thereof is, I guess, the subject this evening. The pipes seem to function very well.
Okay. And this was in response to an enforcement violation.
Yes.
So there, we typically issue a fine. So let's talk about the fine for the violation. So Ecotech, Art Allen, had given us a report that there was alteration in the resource area. So do we want to motion to issue a fine? By consensus?
I'd make motion not to.
Okay.
I second
Motion.
that.
Huh?
I
Second?
that.
Okay. Mr. Fitzpatrick made the motion to not issue a fine. Mr. Foran seconded it. All those in favor?
Eric Curtis, aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr and I.
Okay. All right, thank you. And then as far as the yearly maintenance with the revisions, so the scope of the negative determination of applicability would be the project narrative as well as a screen on the pipe and using straw bales or straw wattles only, no hay. So if the discussion's over, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination of applicability.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco,
Second.
second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Rick Greco, aye.
Jim Foran, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Let's replace the hay with straw wattles.
Yes. Screen on the pipe.
Got it.
And I would put material removed from swale to be used to fill potholes
Okay.
in roadway. Okay. Old business. 801. Public hearing continued, amended order of conditions, 175 Southwest Main Street. Come on up.
Good evening, my name
Welcome.
is Byron Andrews, thank you. With Dupree Engineering, representing Lloyd Moran. If the commission recalls, we met in July, at which time we discussed the Lloyd Moran's property and the request that he had to amend the order of conditions so that he could put a retaining wall around the foundation of his house to get it out of the flood zone. At that time, we had not prepared an amended notice of intent application. We did prepare that subsequent to that and submitted it. So we have that, and there's one other thing that came up in the interim. DEP commented and said that normally a amended order of condition is only if the disturbance remains the same. This would have a slightly greater disturbance where the wall is. Judy Schmidt sent an email and also a link to a guidance document, which I have copies of here if anyone wants to look at it. And what the guidance document basically says is that the issuing authority, in this case the Douglas Conservation Commission, has the authority to decide whether an amended notice of intent is appropriate, and part of that is whether there was a significant change in what's being applied for, or if it's only a small change. So that was the only thing that came up after that, so I wanted to let the commission know about that. But other than that, we have the amended order of conditions application submitted and ready to discuss it.
Could I see the guidance
Yeah.
packet for 1 second?
Sure. Yeah, I have copies for everyone, actually.
So, from what I'm hearing is your amended notice of intent would have the same number. She's recommending, since there is a change, that we have file a new, which would close out the old and issue a new number? Is that my understanding correct?
I don't know if they would issue...
Is she recommending that is great enough?
I believe what she's was trying to say was that that's up to the commission. If you believe it's a minor change, then you have the authority to accept it as an amended order of conditions. If you think that it's a significant change, then you have the authority to ask for a new notice of intent.
Okay. And you've submitted everything to DEP?
Yeah.
All updated?
Yep.
And what was the last comment back on the latest plan?
The latest comment was that it was an increased area of disturbance, and that normally an increased area of disturbance would be a new notice of intent. And then she gave me the link to the guidance document regarding the specifics, and that's what I brought a copy of.
Okay. And what do we have for the increase percentage or volume or square footage wise? What's your increase?
I actually don't have that. I thought that was on the plan, but it's not.
How did she know that it was an increase then?
She must have looked at the original order of conditions and the new application.
Okay, and you don't have your original NOI request on you?
No, I don't.
Or I suppose it would be, do we have this folder for this project?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay. So the original issued order of conditions may give us some clues.
I hope it's in here.
I could possibly look it up on my phone.
This appears to be just information submitted since April, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm not sure how the board's gonna make the determination unless we know what the volume is.
Let's see what I can find. Be right back.
If you'd like, I could forward the notice of intent, the original notice of intent, the new application. And also, I think we have two letters, one a new letter from our engineer and the previous letter from our engineer that accompanied the application. And I think those letters spoke to.
Were they by email?
I'm pretty sure we would have sent PDF copies.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how the board would be able to determine if it would be great enough, the change would be great enough to warrant a new filing.
I do have the previous plan and the current plan with me tonight.
If I just go on Mass Land Records, it should be recorded, right? Is this the second amended that you've come in front of us for?
It would be the first amended one.
I thought there was another filing. I thought there was two filings before this.
So,
Well, you came back and we considered it a minor modification?
yeah. So the full history of the application was originally we came in with the application. The application was to excavate a large area where there were standing pines to compensate for the area of disturbance. Both our client and the commission weren't very favorable about that option. So we came back a second time and we analyzed how much area had been removed from the flood storage area for the construction of the house. And we used that as our basis of comparison. And based on that, the new area that would be filled in the flood zone was smaller than the area that was originally excavated for the house addition. So compared to before the house was built, it would be a reduced disturbance. And that was the one that was approved. And this is basically the same plan, except for the presence of the retaining wall around the house to keep the house foundation apart from the flood zone elevation, to keep it above the flood zone elevation.
Okay. So the proposed alteration from the previously issued order is 1,473 square feet. And you've got 8,300 square feet as this proposal. Does that sound right?
That doesn't actually sound right, because obviously the last approved one was for a large part the same as this one. So either those numbers represent something different, maybe they represent the area.
What's the file number? What's the right file number?
Yeah, this is the one from,
21.
was recorded in 22, January of 22.
Yeah. I mean, I have the plan from that period too, and the only real change is the retaining wall, so I mean, the volume and the square footage shouldn't be that different.
Board, any questions, comments? It's,
You said you had the plans, could I take a look at them?
Yeah, I have them right over here. So here's the old plans underneath. I think I have reduced size copies too. Let me see if I do. Yeah. So here's some reduced size copies of the two plans. I think I have another. Did you get straight if there's another one there?
so this says, so you've recorded the first one, this is coming back to me, so this wasn't recorded until January 2022. The application was March 1, 2021, okay. This was the application. And then we had something after that, I thought. I don't know, I don't want to spend too much time on this board because I cannot determine with the information that's in front of me. So you have in all of your notes the 1,473 square feet, and a proposed replacement 1,968 square feet of boarding land subject to flooding. And then you've got your cubic feet of flood storage lost and replaced. It's only about 1,600. Do you want to see this one? Do you want to look at this? This was the original that got approved.
I'm trying to figure out why.
Unless the number is incorrect on your amended.
The same plan.
So that is what I'm looking at. And then we've got, your application is telling me 8,300 square feet
Yeah.
of proposed alteration in boarding land subject to flooding.
I wonder if the numbers on here are the original numbers before we did the comparison of the flood storage, when we had the,
Do we grant a minor modification?
The, would be an 8.
I think we should just continue this to the next hearing on the 16th, and if you can get the correct numbers that are close, I think by consensus, if they're close, like this directive says, requested change is great enough to be warranted the filing of a new notice of intent, or whether it is relatively minor in nature can be considered as amendment to the original final order. So, you just have to prove that it's,
yeah, we'll check our numbers
Yeah.
again versus the numbers on the plan, and also I'll look and see what the original numbers were when we had proposed excavating where the trees were. That might be where those numbers came from, and maybe they didn't get to the final application. But I'll
right,
have
so
an
I thought we
explanation.
had a minor modification
Condition 60.
that we had agreed to, but that's not really, I can see where she would say, oh, your original
Yeah.
says 1,600, and now
Yeah.
you're asking for 83.
Yeah, those numbers aren't even close to each other.
No, they are not.
I think it may be I think it may be just an error in the revisions of the applications, but
Okay.
I'll confirm that.
Yeah, so if you can be prepared to prove to us that is not a great enough or significant change to the original, and if it is, if you're requesting that, then we've got to do the process again.
Okay.
Okay? All right, so anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding this hearing? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for 175 Southwest Main Street to October 16th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Fitzpatrick, thank you, Brian.
Second.
Second by Mr. Foran, all those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mr. Greco,
To continue.
do you agree to continue this public hearing?
Yes.
Okay,
That's before 9.
okay, thank you very much. Okay, next item, 816, public hearing, continued notice of intent, 273 Southeast Main Street, Lot 1, map 266, Lot 13. Welcome,
Hello,
name and address.
Jason Clough, Dupree Engineering, 104 Mendon Street, Uxbridge. Good evening.
Good evening.
So we were here a couple weeks ago. There was the request for some drainage BMPs to be added to the plan for this application. We made the updates to the plan and submitted the updated plans to the commission. And we also had worked on assisting with drafting the order of conditions, which was provided this morning.
Okay.
This one was fairly straightforward from the last hearing, and, you know, we did add the additional drainage that was requested.
Okay, very good. And then the only other thing was the running tally of the number of lots. So once you hit the 5, you'll be requested, because you did check off the stormwater, not applicable, right, for this. Yep, for your proposed order of conditions. So just as we're running along in history, if I'm
Yes, we'll
not
have
here.
to make sure that they're accounted for,
Right,
which will be,
and we'll make a note.
which will be aided by having the drainage infrastructure already proposed on the lots.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think lot number 1 was pretty straightforward. We didn't have any other requests except for that proposed mitigation, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
There was the question about the amount of work in the riverfront area, but we clarified that.
Yes, yeah, that was a misleading statement. Commission, any questions or comments regarding this lot? No? Mr. Fanoff, did you want to weigh in on this lot number 1 or lot 13? Subdivision lot number 1?
You talking to me?
No, the other Mr. Fanoff. He's also on the line. No, I am talking to you.
Oh, you said Mr. Phantom. I didn't know who you were talking to. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that the applicant included some stormwater BMPs as part of lots 1, 2, and 3. So the commission doesn't have to go down the potentially long and arduous path of having to make them go back to lot 1 should they ever get to that 5th lot and then suddenly the stormwater standards apply. But you know, like you just said, Madam Chair, you know, we're keeping tally, and as it comes in, once you get to that 5th lot, it will officially trigger. That could always be written in a like findings of fact portion of a special order of conditions if you wanted to. But otherwise, I think that we're set on lots 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, thank you very much. So are you agreeable to putting that in the findings of fact? So we have a section that's the special conditions.
So just the additional notation regarding once we hit the 5th lot? Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Okay. So that would be added to the draft order of conditions. Okay. Want anything? No. Katie Grace isn't with us, right? No. Anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding Lot 13, which is also subdivision lot number 1? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing for 273 Southeast Main Street.
So moved.
Mr. Fitzpatrick made the motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farnay.
Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions with the special condition added on the 5th lot triggering stormwater compliance. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second.
second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farnay.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item, 821, public hearing, continued notice of intent, 273 Southeast Main Street, Lot 1, map 266, Lot 13. No, lot number 2, Lot 13. Okay. So this is Lot 2 of the subdivision.
Yes, this is Lot 2. I think similar scenario with the first one. We added the stormwater mitigation to this lot, consisting of a dry well and a stone trench. And I think really the only difference with this lot is it didn't have any riverfront area disturbance.
Okay. And was this the lot with the requested variance?
No, that
Okay,
is Lot
next
3.
one. Okay. All right. Board, any comments or questions regarding this lot? Anyone in the audience have any comments regarding this application? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco.
Second.
Second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farnay.
And I will entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance with the condition for stormwater management once 5-lot subdivision is triggered.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Greco, second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farnay.
Okay, thank you. And next item will be 823. Public hearing continued, 283 Southeast Main Street, Lot 3, map 266, Lot 13.
Yes, so this is Lot 3. This is the one where we had the waiver requests previously for the work within the 50-foot area. We've also added the drainage to this lot, consisting of the stone trench for the driveway. And for this one, there were 2 dry wells proposed, kind of on opposite sides of the building, to minimize, just to try to maximize the separation to the limit of work and the building. So we had 2 narrow dry wells proposed on either side of the building. On the one side, the dry well is 35, they're both within the limit of work that was previously proposed. That one is 30, one on the east side of the building is 35 feet from the wetland edge. And on the west side of the building, it's at approximately 31 feet. We also added some additional boulders for buffer markers. So we would decrease the spacing to 25 feet from 50.
Okay. Commission, any comments or questions regarding this? Did you mention the 2 waivers that were requested were granted at the last meeting in your order? Okay. So the draft order contains those?
I'd have to look.
Mr. Benoit, if you could make sure that the order has noted.
I think it does, but I wanted to
Okay. Anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding this hearing? None. Entertain a motion to close the public hearing. Motion made by Mr. Fitzpatrick. Second by Mr. Foran. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
And I will entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for Lot 3, 283 Southeast Main Street with the previously discussed conditions.
So,
Motion made by Mr. Foran, second by Mr.
Second.
Greco. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Jim Farr, aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And let's go back to the meeting minutes. May 8th. I was not present.
We will add the.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're not in.
Would you, where'd it go? Hold on. I just got a comment on May 8th. Page 4. Two-thirds of the way down, to know that the book, I think it should be brook, like water. Other than that, that's all I saw. So, guess I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended for May 8th, 2023.
Motion made by Mr. Greco, second by Mr. Harris. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
I wasn't here, so.
I don't think we have a quorum. I don't think we have a quorum.
We don't.
We don't. I don't think.
How come you're not listed? Were you weren't on the board yet?
Nope.
Okay, so let's hold May 8th. We'll just do the Brook, because we don't have, I wasn't here either.
Madam Chair, just there was a point of reference for May 8th. It does not mention Mr. Fitzpatrick as either present or absent.
Okay, that's another one.
Yeah.
Go to you.
Do you think were you here?
I'll find out. I'll watch a video.
Okay, so we'll just hold those.
Okay.
May 22nd?
1, 2, 3.
I didn't see anything, I don't know, maybe somebody else did.
1, 2. We only have 3 to vote for that one. So can't do that one either. 1, 2. Same with the next one. And same with the next one. Can't do any minutes tonight. Don't have quorum for any of them.
Okay, all right, so let's hold those, and anything else? Mr. Benoit? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion, second, first. I think I was here for that one.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Foran,
Second.
second by Mr. Greco. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Good night.
To adjourn.
Hey, Matt.
Amen, okay. I'll take that. I'll accept that. Okay, thank you very much.